Yes, she can stand and walk and chew gum at the same time, folks. Now, have you ever heard of the famous episode of The Bull in the China Shop on Bonanza many years ago? Not a spring chick was originally considered for that episode when they called it China, the Chinese girl in the China shop, but they decided that would be wrong. So don't ever invite her to your crystal store.
Okay, so he is still laughing because I fell off the stool.
Yeah.
Perhaps I am a little bit on the, shall we say, clumsy side?
Oh, yeah. See the bruise on her hip over there. If you can see that, that's then the bruise is on her.
Looks good though right now.
Yeah, it's because she actually can't eat chewing gum and walk at the same time, folks.
I can, but sometimes I'm a little focused on something else.
Oh yeah, like she walks into walls.
And my peripheral vision.
She has no peripheral vision. If you're on the right or left of her, I mean, she has walked by me wearing total white on she and I got white hair, white clothes, white shoes, and she drives by me. So.
Which is a good enough reason why you should be wearing your. Oh, where is it?
There it is, your earpiece.
This one's by.
I know, so you could call me and I could hear you.
This is by a company called Jawbone. They do theirs according to a military specification. So it takes the higher point, the lower point. Anyway, you're able to hear people better, and people can hear you better, especially when it's more crowded and noisy. So it works pretty well. I do notice that. Well, let me see. I've had other earpieces too. The Motorola Plantronics I've never had because my ears tend to be a little bit on the little side, and they didn't quite fit my ears. So one of the things you want to do is, of course, test whether or not they're going to fit your ear first.
But this one comes with multiple earpieces you can put on. I went through 3 before I found one that fit my ear right that didn't hurt it all the time.
Well, and also be gentle when you put these on it.
Yeah, because you can break the end off.
Because I've already broken one of the ends.
Yeah.
I think there's a place on the other side where you can poke it.
Yeah, which I had to push back through for.
So anyway, but they're pretty good earpieces.
Okay, she's looking for your, for what it matters. Not a spring chick is looking for a very young and athletic and a pirate that is good with his hands in order to fix all the things she breaks.
So, going on earpieces though, because today is July 2nd. It's the second day since the laws were passed here in California, Washington, and I'm sure.
Okay, multiple states.
Yeah. So, one of the things that people are always concerned about, actually, we'll talk about this, is the CHP thought they were going to have a field day of giving people tickets. But they are actually surprised because over here, at least in Southern California, we've seen the freeway signs that people always slow down for and cause traffic jams. To read the signs and tell you that it's the law, hands-free phone, July 1st, it's the law. So, some of the times the officers have had a difficult time telling whether people or not had an earpiece or not.
Well, because you can have an earpiece that's not an earpiece also.
You could have a speakerphone, which works. Mine is, I have a speakerphone in the car, I also have an earpiece, but the speakerphone I have in the car, I love because I never have to look for it. It always stays in the car.
Yeah, but if you have an iPod thing stuck in your ear, they can't tell whether it's a earpiece.
They can't tell if it's a phone or iPod.
It's a law that is almost impossible to enforce.
Although, when you are turning the corner and you're holding your cell phone like this,
that they know they got you. We've seen that.
They got you on that one.
Because we have seen people today. Okay, not to reinforce it.
Here's the law of unintended consequences.
Yeah, a guy was so intent on getting his earpiece in his ear, he ran off the road.
So remember, put your earpiece in your ear before you start driving.
That's right.
If you're driving, it might kind of help you a little bit. But remember, whether you're doing it or not, it's better to use the earpiece than to not, because it's just one other reason that gives them an excuse to pull you over. So now here's the idea. It's kind of like when they've got all these cars to choose from and you're on the freeway. If you're speeding and you're speeding faster than somebody else, you're more likely to get pulled over.
You mean you're speeding faster than somebody else? Isn't it supposed to be anybody that's speeding, but if you're speeding faster?
Here's the philosophy.
We're in Southern California. That's a real obvious one there. You'd never hear that in the Midwest. If we're speeding faster than the other speeders. That's yours.
It'll stay there.
I know.
So here's the idea. If while you are driving, if you're traveling faster than the other cars and you're going over the speed limit, it allows them to spot you easier. The same thing goes with the hands-free set. So they can spot you easier. I mean, and you're speeding. I mean, those are two tickets.
And you don't have a smog certificate on your car. You don't have your license plate right. Your driver's license is out of date. Just all of the horrible things. The case of the gentleman we just came from. We just came from Costco, where we got something to eat. You know, hot dogs and stuff. Really nice over there. Guy dropped his bottle of alcohol on the ground that he was putting in his car, and it spilled all over his clothes, which meant that he goes out, he smells like a brewery. If he gets picked up without the earpiece in his ear, you know what they're going to do.
Oh, that's true, because, I mean, and so you shouldn't be driving with it, but if you are, just don't answer the telephone, set it down, set it in your lap, just don't be having it in your hand.
Well, yeah, because as most of you could hear, the cell phone went off here, saying the earpiece wasn't in her ear. And if she'd have simply reached up to put the earpiece in, she could have been driving at the same time. So, just the best advice is don't turn your cell phone on in the car.
Yeah, and I know some of you guys are glued to it because, well, maybe you're in professions where you have to be glued to it, but there's other ways to make it work.